Alright, we're back in the shop today, working on the boat. Thanks for tuning back in to the channel. This time we're going to be working on the floor, trying to get this solid so we can cover up all these wires and stuff. What we're going to do is get 2x4s and trim them down so that they'll sit along the floor. And then once we get these sitting how we want them, I'll cut these out of aluminum, make them solid and weld them into the floor, and then we'll run a deck across the top. So there's our 2x4 there. We got 2 of them made already, just so I can figure out what I'm doing. I'm going to make 2 more for the front, and then we will cut those out of aluminum and make them look real nice. All right, we have our line marked here and on the other side of the boat where this next runner is going to be. So all I did is I measured from a little bit in front of the line, and I came up with 39.5 inches. And then I went a little bit behind the line because of the thickness of the board, and it's just about 40 inches right to the top of the weld on the side of the boat. That's where I want the floor to sit. So I've got my board here and I got it marked. You can see that it's kind of at an angle because I'm going to cut it a 1/4 inch shorter on this edge than on the back edge. That'll make a 1/2 inch difference in the board overall. So we'll get this over to the bench, try to cut this out as close as we can, and then we will start marking it to get our round shape in the bottom to match the bottom of the boat. All right, definitely not the right tool for the job, but it kind of worked. Got my little angles cut on here, so now we'll go test fit this back in the boat and see if it's close to the right length. Okay, I got it in there. It's pretty close. It's not sitting level front to back because I didn't account for that because I'm not to that point yet, but now we'll get this held in here and we'll mark the line on it so we can get the round part marked out and cut out on the bottom. Okay, we got our board sitting in here, kind of where it's going to go. I've got this little piece I made up. It's just a piece of plywood with a hole cut 3.5 inches up, so that whenever I put this in over here, I should be right on the top of my board, so I cut the most off of it. So all I've been doing is taking this pencil and trying to just get a rough idea of the line I need to cut out. Dropping my telephone in the boat. Other side. And try to make it match. Okay, now you can kind of see this line here. I'm not going to cut these divots out to go in between the floor. 1, because that'd be a really time-consuming process, and 2, I want water that gets underneath the floor to be able to run back and forth. So I'm going to come in with some sort of saw and cut this out. Same on this side, and then we'll set that in there and see what it looks like. All right, we're out here outside because I don't want to make a mess inside. These lines are pretty much straight across, so I'm going to at least rough them in with the circular saw and see where we go from there. Don't know if that's going to be close, but we'll see. We'll do the other side and go back inside and test it out. Just want to remind everyone this is not a how-to. Don't do that. Here it is in the boat. Fits pretty good to the bottom. I need to trim these corners here so it'll sit down just a little bit lower. The other side actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to trim this off right here just a little bit and see how it looks. Okay, I got this one trimmed, fitting pretty much how we want it. You see the bar across there. That's just so I can make sure that the boards are all the same height. They're all pretty close enough that I'm not going to worry about it. Next step is we're going to start from this back one because I think it'll be the easiest, and trace this line, the shape of this one. We're going to trace it onto a piece of our aluminum square tube. Get that cut out, make it fit how we want it in the boat, and once we get that one cut out, we'll just keep working our way forward because the shapes get a little more complex the further forward you go in the boat. Okay, so we got the board sitting on top of the aluminum. I went ahead with my red Sharpie here and I traced the line out. Not sure if you can see. Got my red line traced out. I'm going to go ahead, mark this end of it, go get this cut off so it's shorter and easier to work with, and then we will start trying to whittle this shape out of the aluminum. Okay, I got it in the boat after cutting it with the angle grinder, which took a while, but it turned out pretty good. It fits up pretty nice to the bottom of the hull. I'll probably be able to weld it to the bottom on these first 3 sections. I don't know what those are called, but first 3 on both sides I should be able to weld it. The middle I'm not too worried about because that's where the big aluminum plate is that smooths the transition on the bottom from the boat hull to the jet ski hull, so that should be plenty solid. On the other 3 I'll probably end up adding some filler underneath the middle because they're not going to touch, just to keep it real rigid, because I'm hoping this will stiffen the bottom of the boat up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and repeat the process on 3 more boards and just keep on cutting them out. I probably won't record it because it's just a really boring process for you to watch. But the next time we see you, we'll have 3 pieces of aluminum, or 4 pieces of aluminum sitting in the bottom of the boat. Okay, we got the other 3 cut out. They went pretty good, except for this one here, which had the worst template, so it made sense that it was the hardest one to get fit in there. But it's looking pretty good. Got nice weldable gaps along at least the first 2 sections of the boat, and then I'll probably add some bracing under the middle just to tie the hull into it. Next step on this will be to take the wire wheel or the flap disc, and anywhere that those touch the bottom of the boat, they're going to get ground down to bare aluminum. So we can come in here and weld these in as solid as possible, just to make the boat as rigid as possible in this section. Because whenever you're beating on the water, the floor on this boat flexes quite a bit. I don't think they designed it to go this fast. So we're going to get those welded in, and then we'll get us some lumber. I'm using probably deck boards like I use on the other boat because they're really strong and they won't rot out with the water, and they're going to run front to back. Now that we got all the pieces laid in here like you saw, I went ahead and marked the floor where I need to grind all the paint and stuff off so I can get a good weld. So now I'm going to take everything out of here that can come out. I have to just go around the wiring because it's already kind of done. And then we'll flat disc all the paint off so we can grind it, or so we can weld it. The only other thing I have to do is take this board off, because I realized if I weld that piece in, if I weld this in with this board, this board won't come out because it goes down below that and it'll hit the steering cable. So while that's out, I'm going to take this board off, take the steering cable off because it doesn't need to be there right now, and get that cut to where it needs to be. Cleaned out. I'm going to get some acetone on a rag and clean up all the bare metal, get these pieces in here and start tacking them in one at a time. Okay, I got the first one welded in here. It doesn't touch much in the middle, which is okay. I'll probably end up putting some braces underneath like I talked about earlier, but I also welded it to the back side here where the front deck goes down, just to make it more solid. That ain't going anywhere, so we're going to keep moving on, get the other three welded in, and see how she looks. Okay, we got all these welded in. I was going to brace up the middle of those right along there, but then I remember there's fiberglass on the bottom of the boat from here over, so I didn't want to burn up any of that fiberglass. Plus it should be plenty strong. If I notice any issues, I can always take the floor out and then weld some gussets in up off the bottom. So for the floor, I've got some deck board. Got these 5 floorboards. They're like deck boards. Gonna cut all these down. The floor is about 47¼ inches from this piece of wood, because this wood's gonna butt up against this, and then I'm gonna go all the way up to this aluminum here, because this is gonna have doors, so that needs to be above the floor. So we're gonna cut out, I think, about 9 pieces at 47¼ inches long. Okay, so we got all the wood in the boat, as you can see. I'll move the camera in a second so you can see it better. Everything is, the first 4 boards in the middle are the same length, and then the outside 2 on each side had to be trimmed to fit the curvature of the boat, which wasn't too big of a deal. I didn't record doing that because I forgot, but I'll show you the floor. It's not attached right now, so I'm going to come through and put probably 2 fasteners on each board, on each aluminum stringer, or whatever those would be called. I'm not sure what the sideways ones would be called, but anyways, gonna have 2 1/4-inch stainless bolts that are countersunk will be in each piece, so it should look pretty good, and it'll be easy to remove if I need to work on the wiring underneath or whatever, but just makes it look a lot nicer in there.